Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Welcome back to another episode of Geeks Reads. Geeks Reads. I'd like to talk to you today about the book Moon Called by Patricia Briggs, an image of which you will see here. This book is about uh, a woman named Mercedes Thompson. She is a mechanic who owns her own shop. In this world, things like vampires and werewolves and the Fae are real. The Fae outed themselves. Werewolves and vampires are still in secret, though. She has to deal with all of them. So there's some backstory going on here where like I said, the Fae outed themselves. She actually bought the garage that she runs from a Fae when he outed himself. So she still has kind of deals with him a little bit from time to time. She's basically making monthly payments to buy the business from him. Her next door neighbor from her house is a werewolf, the leader of the local werewolf pack. He's the alpha male of the local werewolf pack. She also has to pay off some vampires for protection because the vampires run the protection racket in the area, at least for anyone who's in the supernatural community. Mercy herself, she goes by Mercy for short, is part of the community. She's not a werewolf. She is a shapeshifter. She's a Native American woman who is, in this universe, at least, what you would call a skinwalker. She can transform into a coyote. That's pretty much the extent of her powers. She has no other, she's not super strong. She doesn't heal very quickly. She can just shapeshift magically into a coyote. This book is very short. It's like 288 pages. It's a very short book. It basically deals with what happens when a strange werewolf wanders into Mercy's garage and the stuff that surrounds it. There is some mystery involved. Some people from Mercy's past show up. The local werewolf gets involved. Trying to think what I can talk about without giving away the plot too much. I'm not sure what else I can give you without spoiling the story. Mercy's kind of a abrasive woman. She wants to be the strong, independent woman who doesn't have to deal with anybody else, but she's kind of annoyed that she has to deal with, the local werewolf pack and the local alpha, and her ex shows up, so casual sexism by the werewolves kind of thing. I like the character interactions. I really do. I like Mercy. I like Adam, who is Adam Hauptmann, which is the leader of the local werewolf pack. Even her ex Samuel, who is still somewhat possessive of Mercy. I like him too. He seems like, for the casual sexism involved, he seems like a decent guy. I like the old Fae who she bought the garage from. He's like a grumpy old man kind of character. His name is, they call him Z for short because his real name is German and hard to pronounce. I think it's Zebolt Aldebert Smiter, I think is his name. Anyway, I don't speak German very well, so or at all. So his name is difficult for me to pronounce, especially since, I have a thick tongue and I mumble a lot. But I like the way the fair are portrayed in this book. It's not perfect. It doesn't align well with actual mythology. But I do enjoy the way they're portrayed in this book. And like I said, I like the characterizations. I like the people involved. They're all kind of people I might like to hang out with. Not all of them, but for the most part, I think they're interesting people. That said, this is a very light book. It's short. It's not very deep. I don't consider Patricia Briggs' best writing either. I've read other books by her aside from the series that this is in. Um, so she's not known for her heavy writing anyway, but I think this is some of her. This almost feels like pulp novels, just something that's thrown out quick, you know? Having said that, these may not be her best written books. They are some of her most popular. I did myself a favor and checked out some reviews online. I even looked at looked at the 1-star reviews as well, not just the top ones. And while I can agree that this is not heavy reading, I agree with some of the criticisms, the sexism that Mercy deals with casually, just kind of shrugs it off as being, well, I just got to deal with it, I mean, Charlene Harris, who wrote the Sookie Stackhouse novels, or True Blood, for those of you who only watched the TV series, Charlene Harris likes these books. I think, in spite of the fact that they're light fare, I do think they're better written than the Sookie Stackhouse novels and the True Blood TV series, because that was just, I don't know. I want to say it's bad, but I don't want to trash Charlene Harris too much because I can't write worth a damn. But those were just smutty. This is not, I mean, those were just trashy romance novels. This is more trashy urban fantasy. Yeah, definitely urban fantasy. I think that's one of the things I liked about it that drew me into it is, like, I like the characterizations of the lore, the werewolf lore, the vampire lore, the fae lore. In spite of the fact that, like I said, it has no real world applications, or not really, well, there's no such thing as the fae as far as I know. I like these books way more than the quality that they represent. I think these are fun to read, they're easy to read, and they're short. You can just burn through these pretty quickly. The series continues beyond this book. I can't say the writing gets better. Like with a lot of serialized books, the problem is that they tend to you have to do plot exposition for a book as though no one has ever read the previous books, which is unfortunate. But because these books are so short, she doesn't spend a lot of time doing plot exposition. So, there is that for in there for going forward if you want to read the future books in the series. But I'm gonna have to give this book a B+. Initially, I would have rated it higher, but I've read the books, as I tend to do when a new book comes out in the series. I'll reread the entire thing. So, there's several books in this series so far, and I've read all the books in them multiple times, both for fun. I've reread them even when a new book hasn't come out. I just enjoy the book series. But I have gotten to know the flaws better, having read them so many times. And I noticed, like, man, these books are short and just thrown out there. So, almost like a guilty pleasure, I guess. So that's why I give it a B+. They're decent. The mystery isn't too deep. It's solved fairly quickly. This tiny, thin little book. And I'm used to reading Brandon Sanderson's monster novels. So this feels like it's almost non-existent. But I give it a B+. Take it for what it is. It ain't Shakespeare, and it's not Wheel of Time or Tolkien or the Stormlight Archives. It's not that. It's just a fun, easy, light read. Take it for what it is and go home and pick up something else when you're done, or pick up the rest of the books. Like anything else for a long series, read a book in between. Don't binge these because of the plot exposition. Just it burns me out too much to try and binge a series. I got to take a break in between them. But I like these enough to reread them multiple times. So again, take it for what it is. Enjoy it for what it is. Don't expect anything heavy. As always, thanks for watching. As always, if you like my videos, I'm not going to ask you to click any buttons. I hate self-promotion. It annoys the hell out of me. And until next time, good hunting.